Hello, my name is Lauren Powell and this is my information speech. So imagine you want to take a vacation out to Hobuck or La Push and everyone's hanging out on the beach and playing around in the sand. Some people are surfing, some people are collecting driftwood. When all of a sudden you see the waves just disappear, the tide just goes so far out you can't even see it. You can't even see it at the coastline. It's just the craziest thing you have ever seen. So you run out there, you're looking at things, it's insane. However, what you don't know is that just a couple hours earlier, there was a gigantic earthquake off Japan, and a tsunami is heading your way. Tsunamis are inevitable, unavoidable, and completely natural. The name tsunami refers to the Japanese word harbor wave. Like it said, it is a wave, not a tidal wave, as some people may think, because tsunamis are not caused by the tides, they're caused by something totally different. So let me tell you a little bit about the life of a tsunami. So the start is at an area where there could be a large earthquake, a landslide, or a volcano. It's the epicenter of the tsunami. What happens is that in an earthquake, it'll happen and a column of water will shift up and permanently moving the seafloor, so it causes the water to shoot up and split. So what happens is that the tsunami splits into two after the initial earthquake. One half of the tsunami goes towards just the ocean, and then eventually will reach a shore. The other half of the tsunami will hit a nearby shore, which is usually what you hear about on the news. As the tsunami travels, it gets faster and gets more amplified. And as it gets amplified, the wavelength gets shorter, which causes the tsunami to get taller. And that is about the time where you start seeing the water receding from the shores, which is a natural warning sign to anybody who's on a beach anywhere. There are many ways a tsunami can hit the shore. When it does, the biggest impact you can see is the gigantic wave. That's the one where you see the wave coming and it crashes and then it goes into the water or goes into the land. Another one that causes equal amount of damage is a form of a tsunami that comes in fast, like a fast tide, and it just picks up so much speed. A lot of people think that the damage caused by tsunamis are by the initial wave itself, but it's actually caused by the water rushing through things, picking up debris, and then the debris goes through and hits the houses, hits the cars, picks up the cars, and that's what causes the bulk of the damage. And when people die, usually it's because they're getting hit by the debris that is floating through the water. Tsunamis generally happen where there is a subduction zone. A subduction zone can be where plates meet or where anything is geologically active, such as volcanoes, things of that nature. Like there's volcanoes underwater in the Pacific Rim. That is where most of the earthquakes are prevalent and where most of the tsunamis start. The Pacific Rim is also called a ring of fire because it's just very deadly and it causes lots of earthquakes and lots of tsunamis. Obviously, you can see in the past, in December 26, 2004, there was the gigantic earthquake that caused the big tsunami that everyone heard about in Thailand and other areas of Asia where there's a lot of deaths and really highlighted the tsunamis. 80% of all of the tsunamis are actually in the Pacific Rim, so that can give you a little perception. Tsunamis can happen here, and they have in the past. We have an area called the Cascadia Subduction Zone. And also there's other faults that don't necessarily cause tsunamis, but also cause large earthquakes, like the Seattle Fault is right under Seattle, and if that shifts or does anything, then Seattle's in for a big destruction. There's also the Tacoma Fault, which we've seen a little bit in February 28th, 2001, which is my birthday. There was a large earthquake, which I'm sure some of you remember. I was in 6th grade, so that was a fun birthday for me. The Cascadia subduction zone is from the San Juan Islands, Vancouver Island kind of area, all the way down to Northern California. And the last earthquake, there was a major earthquake in 1700, and it actually more impacted Japan than us, but we still got hit with that. And past quakes around here is that one that I just told you about. It's actually 314 years ago. Tomorrow is when that earthquake happened, and it caused a large tsunami. The magnitude of that earthquake was 8.7 to 9.2 magnitude. So I don't think we've seen anything around here since then, and that would cause a lot of damage. There's actually been legends from the Makah tribe out in La Push that show proof of this tsunami. There's been records showing that the tides were receding and then they came back really strong and were sweeping up the houses. So that shows proof that tsunamis do come in. Unfortunately, we're in that area. In the Olympic Peninsula, there was a slight tsunami. In March of 2011, we got hit here in Port Angeles. La Push got 1.7 feet of water in La Push. And Port Angeles actually had records of 1.3 feet of water. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but that wasn't a very big earthquake. So can you imagine if a big earthquake hits, what that would do? So to wrap it up, tsunamis are a natural force caused by natural movements in the earth. The earth is always moving, so inevitably you'll see an earthquake, a tsunami. Unfortunately, we do live close to a subduction zone, so every 300 years or so there is a large earthquake, and we're coming up on that. So we should get one pretty soon, which means a tsunami. I think it's important for everyone to be aware and be informed of what to look for, so when they're at a beach and they see something like that happen, they don't immediately run out to the water, because like they say, if you can see a tsunami, you're too late for it. Also, it's important to have an evacuation route. Go as high as you can up to a mountain. Tsunamis are very fascinating, and I do have some photos of what would happen if a large tsunami hit the Olympic Peninsula. Actually, it's not necessarily the Olympic Peninsula, but more Washington in general. So, this picture is when, right here, this is Grace Harbor, and you can see that this is the Olympic Peninsula. You can see Cape Flattery right here. This is where the earthquake started. So this is actually where the Cascadia subduction zone is, right along there. And see, if an earthquake starts there, boom, you can see the water sort of building up. And then you can see the wave traveling towards, this is Grace Harbor, towards Grace Harbor. And obviously there's outlier waves that will come up and will impact us. And then this last slide is kind of scary to look at. It shows the wave coming straight in, and it looks gigantic. So I got all my information from, well, most of my information from the Pacific Coastal and Marine Science Center, an article from that of which was called The Basics, Life of a Tsunami. I got another article off of there, which was the North American Legends of Tsunamis in the Pacific Northwest, and that was the Makah tribe. And then the other place where I got my information was the Washington State Department of Ecology, and it was just titled Washington Coast. So that is my speech. I hope you guys learned something about tsunamis and how cool they are, but also how scary they are. So, thank you.